Hi. To begin with, forgive the orientation of this video, but I don't have my tripod with me, and so. But this is a little bit different from a lot of my other videos. Normally, those of you who follow me know I usually do things about bushcraft, camping, survival, that sort of thing. But every now and again, I respond to things that are going on in the world because, I exist. And recently, I've seen some videos which have disturbed me. Some of them have been doing the rounds for a little while. Some of them are new. I'm not going to give any oxygen to the people making these videos, other than to say that these are made by people who, well, the chaps who make them go to great lengths to explain to you that they're alpha males. First of all, anybody who goes to great lengths to explain to you that they're an alpha male instead of you just being able to spot it for yourself, they're either lying or deluded or both. Secondly, these guys then go on to proceed to hand out relationship advice when uh, clearly they are just not the right people to follow relationship advice from because, you know, how shall I put this nicely? They're idiots, morons. Toxic masculinity comes to mind. It's just bad advice. So I'm going to give you instead the best advice that I know for making your relationship do much, much better than it otherwise could. Um, as for my own credentials, all I'm going to say is I'm 60 years old. I've been around the block a few times. I've known my wife for 40 years. I've been married to her for 37 of those 40 years. And to be honest, neither one of us are going anywhere. So if that counts for something, there you go. So, what is the best relationship advice you can be given? Well, it comes down to recognizing that there is a difference between men and women. And I'm not talking about the obvious, I'm talking about a cultural thing. Men are raised to be a certain way, women are raised to be a certain way. And so, cultural impact is there. And in one particular area, it really does create a lot of friction in relationships. And I've seen relationships destroyed by this. So, it's worth knowing about. Basically, when a man tells you his problems, not problems within the context of the relationship, problems at work or problem, I went out to go shopping and this guy cut me off or whatever it is, when a man gives you his problems, as a general rule of thumb, what he's asking for is advice. Because when men talk to other men and they talk about their problems, they try to give one another advice to try and solve the problems. That's just something that men tend to do. Whereas when women talk to one another about their problems, they talk about their feelings and how the problem makes them feel, and they try to show sympathy and empathy because that's how women are raised in our society. That's actually the primary focus. Now, that doesn't mean that women never want suggestions on how to deal with a problem. And it doesn't mean that men always want suggestions with when they mention a problem. But as a general rule, a man isn't going to share his problems with you unless he wants your advice. But women are not generally that way inclined. In other words, generally speaking, if your partner is telling you her problems at work or her problems were when she went out and such happened, she's not actually asking you for advice. What she's asking for you is a bit of sympathy and a bit of empathy and to show her that you're on her side in this. Oh, I'm sorry you had to go through that. That was really wrong. That must have been really rough on you. Something like that is going to be far more welcome than, well, this is what you should have done. That will never be welcome. Now, there are exceptions, and the main exception occurs when your partner looks at you and after she has told you what is wrong, either before or after you've shown sympathy and empathy, she might include the words, "What do you think I should do?" Now, that's probably going to happen after you've shown sympathy and empathy, if it's going to happen at all. It may not need to because she may already know what to do. But if she's sharing with you and does not include the words, "What do you think I should do?" or a phrase similar to that, do not, under any circumstances, offer advice. Just sympathy, empathy, That's it. If you could hold off on the advice until or unless you're asked for it, you're going to have a lot less fighting in your relationship and a lot more happiness. That is literally the best advice you're ever going to get when it comes to relationships. It's not the be all and end all. Well, failing to follow that will be the end all, because your relationship won't last. If you just have to give her advice. We heard the term mansplaining. That's where it comes from. Men offering advice when it wasn't asked for. And like I say, this is a cultural thing. Men just automatically assume if you're telling me your problem, you must want my solution. But that would only apply to another man. It doesn't apply to women. Trust me on this one. I know of what I speak. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. Over the years, I certainly have. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, please consider sharing, please consider subscribing. And I look forward, and if you have a comment, if you've had a similar experience or have gone through anything like this, feel free to write about it in the comments, because we can try to talk about that if you need to. Anyway, I hope to see you again soon. You all have a good one.